You know what, man? MMA is supposed to be unpredictable. It's supposed to be full of surprises, right? There's so many variables to keep track of. I mean, just when it comes to striking alone, like with striking, you've got boxing, you've got karate, you've got kickboxing, you've got Muay Thai, you've got Taekwondo. With some fighters, you've got Wing Chun and Kung Fu and all these different striking styles that all mix together in there. And then with the grappling, you've got judo, you've got jujitsu, you've got sambo, you've got wrestling, you've got freestyle wrestling, you've got Greco-Roman style wrestling. You've got all kinds of styles meshing together, coming together. And when all of these different variables are in play, a lot of times it leads to chaos. So we as MMA fans, man, we're used to the chaos. We're completely used to it. And today is no exception. There's been so much chaos in MMA lately that just nothing really surprises you anymore in a sport that's supposed to surprise you every single time. In a sport that just inherently, when you consider every single variable, it is supposed to surprise you. But at this point, man, nothing surprises me anymore. Like just a few days ago, we had Aljamain Sterling fighting Petr Yan in a fight where Petr Yan was doing exceptional. He was doing a great job. Aljamain Sterling, on the other hand, was a little bit erratic. He was all over the place. The moment clearly was getting to him. It got to a situation where they were in sprawl, right? Petr Yan on top, Aljamain Sterling on his knees. Clearly not the position to throw a knee at Aljamain Sterling, but for some reason, Petr Yan throws a knee, and that's it. Fight is over. How did the fight end? Aljamain Sterling wins the Bantamweight Championship by disqualification. Are you surprised? No, not really. That's just mixed martial arts. Let's not forget, before that, Conor McGregor, in his return, gets KO'd by Dustin Poirier. Are you surprised? No, not really. Today, we're supposed to have, meanwhile, we had an incredible card. Every single fight was going really good. A lot of finishes. Every single fighter showed up. Every single fighter was rising to the occasion. The card was good. And then Eric Anders knees Stewart illegally. Had a clear downed opponent. Knees him in the head, side of the head. The doctor shows up, steps into the octagon, looks at Stewart, tells him, walk towards me. Let me see if you're okay. The man says, I'm perfectly fine. I'm able to continue. Don't stop the fight. I'm good to go. I can keep going. And the doctor says, no, you're not. This fight can't keep going. And fight is waved off. No contest. And there we go. Okay, you know what? It happens. No surprise there. We still have the main event to look forward to. Woo! Leon Edwards is returning back to the octagon after a very, very long time. Oh, man, we can't wait. We can't wait to see what this man can do. He's stepping in there on short notice. Well, Belal Muhammad is stepping in there on short notice against Leon Edwards. The man just fought in February, so thank you to Belal Muhammad for doing it. This is going to be a great fight. It's a great opportunity for Muhammad to show that he can hang with the big dogs. It's an opportunity for Leon Edwards to show the world that he's still Leon Edwards, even though we've not seen him compete in a long time. There's so much on the line. We're all excited. Let's go. Fight starts off. Round number 1 is amazing. Leon Edwards is outclassing this man, outstriking him, showing that, this whole idea of ring rust does not apply to some fighters. At some point, he was able to land a beautiful roundhouse kick to the head, rocked him, wobbled him, was teeing off with hooks and cross, jab straight, just blasting him all over the octagon. And we were, okay, with the way this fight is going, man, there's a high possibility this thing is going to end up with a TKO. I mean, Leon was on his way to get that done. At the very least, it would have been a 50-45 decision because he was outclassing the man. And if you know Leon Edwards, Leon Edwards gets stronger as the fight goes on. He's proved that before in his fights. Round number 2 starts. Meanwhile, by the way, I believe it was in round number 1, or it might have been round number 2. I got to go rewatch it. But at some point in that fight, Leon Edwards pokes him in the eye. He pokes him in the eye, and the referee, Herb Dean, is like, look, man, you got to watch your fingers. You got to keep the fingers up like this. I know you're trying to measure, which is, it's a normal thing for strikers, for kickboxers to do, because a lot of times when you're in the gym and you're sparring and you're training, a lot of times you train in boxing gloves. And when you're using boxing gloves, you can keep your fingers open. There's no risk poking anybody in the eye when you have boxing gloves on. And so fighters can keep their fingers open to measure that distance. And so a lot of times they bring that to the octagon. They're keeping the fingers open, but then, because it's so ingrained in them, it's like muscle memory at this point. It's hard to train yourself to not keep the fingers out like that as opposed to, to keeping it this way. And so Herb reminds him, you got to keep the fingers up, man. Don't be poking him in the eye. This is a big fight. We don't want you doing that. Leon Edwards like, yes, sir. I hear you loud and clear. I'm going to fix that. But of course, I mean, come on. We've seen so many fighters get poked in the eye over the years in MMA. It was bound to happen again, and it did. This time, he was trying to throw a roundhouse to the head. Usually, the combination he was going for was a cross followed by a roundhouse to the head. The cross is designed to get you to slip. As you slip to the outside, the roundhouse blasts you. We see that combination used a lot in MMA. That's what Leon Edwards was going for. But he did not actually throw a cross. He kept his fingers open and jabbed Belal Muhammad right in his right eye. And it was a bad eye poke. And you could tell it was a bad eye poke right away with the way Belal Muhammad fell to the ground and started weeping. When you see a grown man on the floor crying his heart out, weeping, you realize there is something seriously wrong. Now, at this point, I don't even know if the man is okay. Because all I was thinking when I saw that man on the floor crying his arse, I was like, dude, please tell me this man did not just get blinded in his right eye. Because right away, immediately, you could see the right eye was swollen. It wasn't just swollen, it was bleeding. There was blood coming out of his eye. So, it was a bad eye poke. And we've seen some bad eye pokes in the octagon. We've seen some fighters have to get surgery because of eye pokes. Michael Bisping being one of them. Stipe Miocic was poked in the eye so many times by DC, he had to get surgery, which actually delayed the rematch with DC. Dude, this is not the first time we've seen fighters get injured with eye pokes in there. And so we're like, oh my God, not again. Not again. We're like, oh, please tell me that Belal will be able to continue. But as it went on, as he laid on the floor over there, weeping in agony, you could just tell this is it. It's over. They call in the doctor. The doctor takes a look at him, waves the fight off. Nobody gets DQ'd. The fight is called a no decision. So nobody wins. And that's how the main event ends. A fight that we were waiting for so long. The return of Leon Edwards. What can this man do? And this is how it ends. Mixed martial arts just never ceases to surprise. And it's getting to a point, like I said, it's getting to a point where nothing is a surprise anymore. Nothing's a surprise anymore. No matter how good the fight card is, you're just keeping your fingers crossed. You're just sitting there going, you know what, man? Something crazy is going to happen today. Somebody is going to get kneed illegally. Somebody is going to get their eye poked. Something's going to happen. And in regards to the eye poke, right? Every single time this happens, the topic of why are we still using the same old gloves? That topic always comes up. It always comes up over and over and over again. And as the fight was over, I tweeted out something. I was saying something along the lines of, man, with all the brilliant, creative minds out there, it's a little bit crazy to me that no one has been able to figure out a design, a glove design that perhaps not that it makes it impossible for you to poke a fighter in the eye, but it actually reduces the risk of that happening. How come no one has created gloves like that? And you guys were quick to remind me, wait. Yeah, someone has. Trevor Whitman. Trevor Whitman already has, you guys know Trevor Whitman, that's Justin Gaethje's coach. Justin Gaethje, Rose Namajunas, incredible coach. In one of his in the podcast he did with Joe Rogan, he introduced a glove design, which you guys reminded me of. He introduced a glove design that forces the fighter's hands to curl up like this, which will allow you to grapple. You don't need your hands like this to grapple. You don't need the hands out straight. If the glove forces the hand to be curved and prevents you from doing this, which is how you get poked in the eye to begin with, you can still grapple, because that's the biggest worry, right? The biggest worry is that MMA involves grappling. If we build gloves that covers the fingers and prevents a fighter from getting poked in the eye, that might affect grappling. But these gloves that I was seeing on this podcast were spot on. Why don't we have the gloves in the UFC right now? Politics, money. Apparently, Dana White and the UFC allegedly, I'm probably incorrect about this, so I'm just going to say it that way. Apparently, Dana White and the UFC wanted, they wanted full rights to the gloves. They wanted to own the patents to it, which to me is a little bit crazy. It's like, you didn't design this, someone else designed this. It's not yours. It's not your idea, and you want to own the whole entire thing. That's why we don't have revolutionary gloves that could prevent fighters from getting poked in the eye. That's why we don't have those gloves in the UFC right now. And to me, that's just crazy. It really is crazy, because the gloves we have right now, man, it just robs everybody. It robs fans of incredible fights when fights end like this because of eye pokes. It definitely robs the fighters. I mean, it robs the fighter that poked the opponent in the eye. It robs him of a clean win, a clean victory. And then the fighter, who gets poked in the eye, he gets the worst of it. It robs him of his opportunity to win the fight, and he leaves the octagon with an injury, a potentially life-altering injury. I don't know all the politics involved. I can't pretend to know, but I feel like everything needs to be done to have these gloves changed. Because right now, I mean, the sort of injury that I saw today, dude, watching this man on the octagon floor crying, weeping, screaming, blood gushing out of his eyes. I mean, that sort of injury right there, that's the sort of injury that should be a kick in the ass for everybody involved, for the UFC, everybody involved. If this does not motivate them to get this done, to change those gloves, I don't know what will. Perhaps when someone's eyeballs literally falls out of their eye socket and we're looking at the eyeballs in the octagon, maybe that's when they'll be motivated to make changes. Maybe, I don't know. But just what a disappointing, terrible way for the card to end. And it was a good card too. Every single fight delivered. They were good. A lot of finishes. Like I said, everybody rising to the occasion. And then we get to the main event, and this happens. Disappointing. Which, leads to the question, what's going to happen with Leon Edwards now? Right, this was his opportunity to come back, to get back into the groove of things. Dana White already said, with an impressive win against Belal Muhammad, that sets him up for a championship fight against the champion, Kamaru Usman. So what happens now? Does he still get the championship fight? Does he still get a chance to fight for that belt? Does he get to rematch Belal Muhammad? What happens? And what happens to Belal? Is he going to be okay? So many questions this raises. And I feel, we're definitely going to find out what happens in a few days. But that's it. Just wanted to give you guys my thoughts real quick on Filter, just straight up. I just got done watching the fight. Let me know in the comment section what you guys thought about the main event. What do you guys think needs to be done to prevent this? Do you agree with me that the UFC just needs to suck it up and just do whatever they need to do to get these new gloves in? Let me know, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.